Today's virtual meetup, virtual Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust meetup. Today we have a discussion about exploring the new Hyperledger Fabric course, a sneak peek into content and key insights. Today we have two of the creators of that course who are going to share about what is in the course and how you can use it to advance your understanding of Hyperledger Fabric. And with that, I will turn it over to Dayal.
Yep. Thank you, David. So good morning, good evening, everyone. So my name is Dayal, and I'm the one of the creator of this course. So today we are going to understand what inside there in Hyperledger Fabric, the new course. So if you are familiar with Hyperledger ecosystem, or let's say a decentralized trust ecosystem from Linux Foundation, so there used to be two courses altogether. One is for developer, one is for admin. So now we have come up with one new course, which is a combination of both. So I'll just start my presentation with what exactly we are going to cover and what you are going to learn today. So today we'll start with the introduction to the Hyperledger Fabric course, where I'll talk about what is Hyperledger and what kind of what will be the kind of framework is all about. Then we'll talk about what is the content inside, what is the course outline, how it has been structured for you guys. And then we'll talk about the course objective and outcomes. Who is the person who can take this course? What will be the outcome for a particular person? And then in the last, we'll talk about the real world use cases of Hyperledger Fabric. So this will be the agenda, and last we'll have the Q&A. So whatever questions you have, you can just put it in the chat, or you can raise your hands also at the end. So with that, let's get started. So as I told you, like we used to have two courses and two certifications also. So one course was Hyperledger Fabric Certified Admin, and second one was Certified Developer. So now both the courses have been deprecated, and now the new one has been launched, which has the kind of glimpse of both the courses all together. And with with one course, you can just kind of design, develop, and deploy the Hyperledger Fabric network. So it's a kind of very comprehensive course where we kind of started with very basic, where we explained what is Hyperledger Fabric, how it is structured in a modular architecture, how you can use the plug and play kind of features inside Hyperledger Fabric, and also explaining all the components, the basic components of it, like what is a peer, what is orderer, how the components are kind of connecting with each other. And very small components we have explained in detail. And with that, we focused on the hands-on. So basically, whatever concept you learn in the theory, the same concept we have covered in the hands-on labs. So along with the theory, you will get to learn about the hands-on, how you can kind of create a network, how you can kind of create a channel, you can write a smart contract or chain code, or you can kind of deploy those smart contract and chain code into the Fabric network. And at the last, we have also explained about how you can kind of interact with the chain code. You can do the transactions and all. So this is all about the courses, and it is designed in such a way that a person who doesn't know anything about Hyperledger ecosystem, or a person who is very first time just kind of starting his journey in blockchain or in decentralized world, so he can also take the course and he can just start from very basic to the advanced level. So this is how the course has been designed. Now, who should take this course? So this course is basically designed for all kind of audience, starting from developers who are just starting their journey into the Web3 or in a decent Hyperledger or blockchain. They can take the course. The architect who wants to kind of build some kind of high-level architecture or want to build the Hyperledger Fabric-based application, they can join the course. They can take the course. DevOps engineer. So in the course, we have made sure that all the DevOps related things, like how you can spin up your network with Docker, or how you can use with Kubernetes, or when you have a production ready application, how you can kind of deploy your application in the production using Kubernetes, what kind of things you have to keep in mind while deploying in the production. So for DevOps engineer, this is very important, where they can learn from the basics to the advanced till the production environment, how they can deploy the Hyperledger Fabric network. And the third kind of audience would be technical decision maker who wants to kind of, and these can be product managers or the leaders who wants to take some decision whether to use Hyperledger Fabric or not for a particular use case or for a particular domain. So they can also take the course, they can understand how it can benefit for their use case. Now coming to the course objectives and outcome. So at the end, what you are going to learn from the course. So the very first thing is you will understand the core architecture of the Hyperledger Fabric. So Hyperledger Fabric has various components which are kind of connected with each other, like peers, orders, channels, then how you write a chain code, then smart contracts, then you have a MSP, which is a membership service provider, how the identities are being managed inside the fabric. So all these concepts you will be able to understand at the end. Then you will be learning how to write a smart contract and the chain code using Node.js and Golang. So at the end, you will be able to write a smart contract and you will be able to deploy that smart contract in the Hyperledger Fabric network. Then from the scratch, you will learn how to set up a network. So we have taken example of test network, and we have kind of explained you how you can kind of start a network from very scratch or from very first step. And then slowly you can just add new organizations. If you want to add, you can add new peers. So those are the configuration related things which we have kept in mind to design this course, which we will be kind of learning altogether. And lastly, we have a Fabric SDK. So without Fabric SDK, it is very difficult to kind of create an end-to-end application, or you can say developing a full stack application. So Fabric SDK also we have explained in very detail using examples, using a hands-on lab where you can actually do a hands-on and learn how to use a Fabric SDK, and you can understand the core concept of it. So all these concepts we have covered in the entire course, which you will be getting at the end of the course. And once you complete all the modules, then these are the things which will be kind of learning for you. Now, who has developed the course? So myself, I am Dayal Mukati. So I am a principal architect at IDS, and I take care of all the architecture related things on the technical level, where designing from the technical architecture to the complete development end to end, I take care. And along with me, I have Aravind Voruganti, who is global vice president in IDS. And he has also supported me while designing the course. So he's also here. So he will also share his insight how you can kind of get benefited from this course. Now, next, let's understand what is Hyperledger Fabric. So this is for the person who is, let's say, very first time hearing about Hyperledger Fabric, and he doesn't know anything about Hyperledger Fabric. So basically, if you know basics of blockchain. So blockchain is you can say, distributed network where multiple nodes can come together and create a network. So those networks you must have seen, let's say Bitcoin, Ethereum, those are like public networks which are there in the market right now. Now, here, if you want to use a use case, if you want to have a use case, which is a enterprise use case, where you are very much kind of concerned about your data and the privacy of your data, and you don't want to share your data with the external world, or you want to just share the data with few stakeholders which are part of your organization or which are part of your ecosystem. So there, the best framework which comes, that is Hyperledger Fabric, which gives you a permission-based blockchain platform or blockchain network, which you can build it or create it from the scratch. And it is purely designed for the enterprises, where you can take any use case in any domain, let's say healthcare or supply chain or agriculture or land records. Anything can be done where you need a permission-based blockchain. You can use Hyperledger Fabric, and it is the best. So now in the market, if you go, more than 60 to 70% use cases are being built on Hyperledger Fabric. So that is a kind of adoption it has in the market. Then as I said, it is a very modular architecture, or you can say modular architecture, meaning whenever you want to scale your application or whenever you want to use any external, let's say, component in the Hyperledger Fabric, you can easily plug and play. Plug and play meaning there are many components. So, for example, one component you want to use, but another component you don't have any need for your use case. So that component you can just plug out. So that is the kind of architecture it has. And when you start this course, that those features you will learn in detail, where how you can kind of plug and play with the different components. And if you don't want to use a particular component, you can just ignore that component and use only required components for your use case. Additionally, let's say if there is a feature which is not available in Hyperledger Fabric, let's say right now Hyperledger Fabric supports Raft and BFT consensus algorithm, but your use case is something which required a something else, let's say a third consensus algorithm which you want to use in Hyperledger Fabric. So there is a provision to kind of plug in the external consensus algorithm also. You can just develop it externally and plug in into the framework. So those options also available. That is why it is very modular in the kind of architecture. And then use of smart contracts. So whenever the term blockchain comes, or whenever the terms DLT comes, the very first thing will come the smart contracts. So here we call it a smart contract and the chain code. So both are kind of same thing only, but a little bit difference is there. So which you will be kind of learning in the course. So you can write a smart contract. And the beauty is here you can write the smart contract in your traditional languages, the languages which you already know, or the enterprises uses on daily basis, or in most of the applications. Let's say Java or JavaScript framework or Python, Golang. So there are multiple language options you have. It is not like a public blockchain. Let's say I will take example of Ethereum. So if you want to write a smart contract in Ethereum, then you have to learn Solidity as a language. Without Solidity, you cannot write a smart contract in Ethereum ecosystem. But here in Fabric, you have option of 4 languages. So you can choose according to your need, according to your workforce, how they are equipped with, or what kind of language they already know. So same workforce you can kind of deploy and train on Hyperledger Fabric, and you can start developing these smart contracts. So that is the kind of features it has, and that is why in the enterprise the adoption is very high. And now if I compare with public blockchains, so simply access, it is a permission based access. So the data privacy is with the who is creating a network or who is developing the network. Then on the other side, if you take Ethereum as example, so Ethereum is completely public network. Then consensus based, so sorry, consortium based network or governance you will get. Basically, let's say there are 5 members or 5 stakeholders. They are coming together and they are trying to form a blockchain network. So it is a consortium based governance. Those 5 members will take the decision of the network. It is not like the external people also will take the decision. But in the public blockchains, everyone who is part of the network, because it is a public network, anyone can join the network. So there you will get the complete decentralized community kind of governance. But here the governance will be a consortium based governance, where a set of people, or you can say set of organizations, will be taking the decisions for governance. Then we have performance. So in the enterprise, the very first thing which will be there, how your network is performing, how your application is performing. Because if your application is not performing well, if you cannot scale that application, and if you don't get a high TPS, then there is no use of that application. Whether it is providing security or not, it doesn't matter. But the performance is a key factor in the enterprise. And Hyperledger Fabric take cares of that. It will give you very high TPS compared to the other blockchains which you have in the market. Then we have smart contracts. So as I said, we can write a chain code or a smart contract in multiple languages, but in public blockchains, mostly 1 or 2 languages max will be supported. So this is how you can compare with the public blockchains, and why enterprise are kind of using these frameworks aggressively. Now moving to the next one. So let me just walk you through the course outline. But before that, I'll highlight 2 things. One is this course is like a design in such a way that you start with the fundamental concepts. and slowly you goes to the advanced topics. So total we have 24 chapters in the course. And from chapter 1, you start with very basic, like the fundamental meaning, what is a Hyperledger Fabric? Or before that also, what is a Linux Foundation? What is a Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust? Okay, so we talk about from where the framework is coming from. And then we goes uh, to the about the framework, the features of the framework, and then advanced topics which will be there in the course. Then each module builds on the previous one. So it is not like that every module you are learning as a new one. It will be a continuation of the previous one. So we made sure that people should get a kind of a story in the learning. It is not like that every day you open a new chapter and you will get a new story altogether. It's not like that. It is just everything is dependent on the previous one. So once you learn the first chapter, automatically everything will be revised in the second chapter, and then go on and so on. All the topics will be covered. So that is how we have designed this particular course. And second, the main feature of this course is, for each and every concept which you are going to learn in the theory, you will get a hands-on labs for that. So, for example, let's say you are learning about a peer, right? So you learn about what is a peer, what is a order, and how the transaction lifecycle works in Hyperledger Fabric. So for the same theory concept, you will have a hands-on lab where you will be creating a peer, you will be creating a order, and then between those orders and peers, you are going to create a channel, and then you will be doing a transaction altogether. And that will be kind of complete hands-on, so that you can understand, okay, this is what I have learned in the theory, and against this theory, this is the concept which is being executed in front of my eyes. So that is how every concept which you are learning in the theory, hands-on will be available for that. And a real world exercise is also there. So we made sure that few real world example we take from the actual problems, and then we try to kind of create a hands-on labs around that. So those, let's say, there are multiple real world scenarios are there where you are having multiple stakeholders, and then using between those stakeholders, you are kind of creating a blockchain network. So those kind of real world exercises you will see, and you will be kind of experiencing it once you have the course. Now I'll go to the each chapter. Okay, so this is a public page which the link will share with you at the end. So this is how the course outline will look like. The very first chapter is just a course introduction. Then we talk about introduction to blockchain. Let's say you are just coming, you are just hearing very first time what is a blockchain. So we first talk about what is blockchain. We kind of make sure that you learn about blockchain concept, the basic concept, what is a block, what is a transaction, what is an asset, how the blocks are coming together and forming a chain, and how the blocks are connected with each other. So we talk about all these things in introduction to blockchain. So all the basic core concept of blockchain. Then we move to the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. We talk about the complete ecosystem. So please go on mute if you're not talking. Okay, thank you. So we talk about the decentralized trust, how the complete ecosystem works, what kind of projects are there, and how those projects are being supported or being developed by the open source community. So we talk about that. And then we come to the Hyperledger Fabric in the chapter 4, where we talk about what is a Hyperledger Fabric, what are the key features of it, how it is modular, and how it is kind of scalable in the nature, what kind of deployment strategy you would need. So all the introduction part and the features part we discuss in the chapter 4. Then we go to chapter 5, where we talk about the Hyperledger Fabric model. And in Hyperledger Fabric model, we talk about all the core components. So basically, it is a layer-wise architecture we have developed. So in layer-wise architecture, you will get to know about the identity part, the blockchain core features, where you will have the core layer of consensus. Then you have a smart contract layer where you will understand how the smart contracts can be developed and deployed and can be run inside a container. So those things we discussed about the Fabric inside Fabric model chapter 5. Then in chapter 6, we talk about we explain the identity part, why identity is required, why identity is important, how the security is coming all together, what kind of security protocols we are using, then how the certificate authority works, what kind of certificate authority you can use. So there are multiple type of certificate authorities which we can use in Hyperledger Fabric. Even the third party also we can use. So those we have explained in detail. And then we have explained about the membership service provider, which is MSP in short, where we talked about how access can be managed or access control can be managed using membership service provider. Then coming to the chapter 7, where we talk about the components, where you will get to know about peers, orders, channel, ledger. So all these concepts in detail with examples you will get to learn. Then we have chapter 8, where we talk about ordering service. And here, along with the ordering service, we talk about the raft ordering service, which is one of the consensus algorithm. And also we talk about BFT, Benjamin time fault tolerance. So both of the ordering service consensus algorithm we talk about, and what is a kind of importance of ordering service. So those all the concept we talk about in chapter 8. Then we go to chapter 9, where we talk about transaction lifecycle. So how the transaction is from the starting, from let's say any third party, maybe front end application, or from the command line, how the transaction is started, and then how it goes till the point where you commit the transaction into the ledger. So each and every step we talk in detail with the examples. Then we have chapter 10, where we have smart contracts, chain code, and Fabric chain code lifecycle. So if you know the old Fabric version, where there was a different Fabric chain code lifecycle, but here they have introduced a new chain code lifecycle. So we talk about the smart contract, how you can write the smart contract, which all languages, which all libraries you would need to write a smart contract, and then how you can kind of club multiple smart contracts together and kind of create a single package, which will be your chain code, and then how the chain code lifecycle will be working. So there are two different concepts altogether. One is transaction lifecycle, and the second one is the chain code lifecycle. So transaction lifecycle is something where you are doing a transaction, a real transaction, and that transaction is going in multiple phases, and then it gets committed to the ledger. And on the chain code lifecycle, you are writing a logic, and that logic is going into multiple stages, and then finally it gets committed to the ledger. So there are two different life cycles which we talk about in chapter 9 and 10. Then moving on in chapter 11. So from chapter 11, the hands-on part gets started, where the very first thing what we do is we first prepare our machines for the Hyperledger Fabric environment. So we did for two type of operating system. One is Linux that we did on Ubuntu, and second one you will get, that is Mac OS. On both the operating system, how you can kind of install Hyperledger Fabric, how you can kind of install all the prerequisites which are required for the Hyperledger Fabric, and basically how you can make sure that your machine is ready for the Hyperledger Fabric. So that will be done in the chapter 11. And from chapter
Dayal,
11,
just to flag real quick, it looks like somebody has their hand up. I don't know if they still have a question or not.
okay, just a minute. Yeah, I see Kunal.
Yeah,
Yes, Kunal.
hi, Dayal. Thanks for your time. Actually, so I have a few questions here. So the chapters you are talking about, those chapters we have already covered, or are we going to cover in the next session?
No. So this all chapter you will get in the course. It is already there.
In course, I mean, shall I need to subscribe that course, or shall
Yes,
I need
yes,
could
yes,
you
yes.
explain about that? Because I am new with this group, and so basically I am a mobile application developer with 10 years of experience, and I have a basic knowledge of that blockchain, and
Okay.
I would like to pursue my career. I would like to turn my career into blockchain.
Okay.
I would like to go some certification or any things.
Mhm.
I have no idea where to go. I need a roadmap to
Okay.
career in this field. So I'm not aware that if we have already covered any session in the past
So
or not.
yeah, so Kunal, this is let me give you the context here. So basically, we have already developed one course which is available on the website. You can see my screen also, and this course you can enroll. This is the very entry point for the Hyperledger Fabric. You can consider as a very first course for anyone who wants to kind of start their journey into the Hyperledger Fabric, or they want to start their journey into the blockchain, especially for enterprise ecosystem. So here with this course, you have two things. One is a course and one is a certification. So this particular link we are going to share with everyone. So you can go through with the link, and it is already pre-recorded course which is available on the platform.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just explaining you what if you subscribe or if you enroll for the course, what exactly you are going to learn from that course. So that is what I'm explaining chapter wise.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we were discussing about uh, the prerequisite installation, which was there in the chapter 11. After that, we have chapter 12, where we install the Hyperledger Fabric and we test the very first network, that is a test network. And this is the time where you will kind of experience how the network will look like, and what kind of components which you have already seen in the theory part, and now you will be able to see in front of your eyes. This is how the peer gets started. This is how the order gets started, and what all activities are being kind of executed, or what kind of functions are being executed uh, while starting the fabric or the order. You will be able to see there in the chapter 12. Then from chapter 13, in Hyperledger Fabric, there are some certain steps which you need to kind of do. So, or which you need to have when you want to develop a network. So first one is your infrastructure should be ready. Then your configuration or your channel should be ready. Then you have to write a logic for with your smart contracts and the chain code. And then finally, when you deploy those, then you will be kind of ready with the transactions. So that we are going to start from chapter 12. So first, you make sure that your infrastructure is ready. Then in chapter 13, again, you just do the network configuration with the peer and orders, and you start your network. Then in chapter 14, you create a channel. So all the channel related configuration, let's say what is the channel concept, what is how you can create a channel, what kind of configurations are there, what kind of files you will be having where you will write a configuration for a channel. Okay, how many organizations you want to have for a particular channel. So all these concepts are covered inside the channel chapter 14, and this is all hands-on chapters where I explain the concepts, and at the same time I'll do the hands-on lab also. So you will get the recorded videos where you will see the how I'm creating a channel or how I'm kind of defining my organizations. Then in chapter 15, uh, you are going to learn about smart contracts and the chain code, where starting from designing a logic or designing a chain code from development to the deployment. So everything is covered in chapter 15. So I have taken few examples and I have written the chain code from the scratch, and then I have deployed the same chain code into the network. Then we have chapter 16, where so once the chain code is deployed and once it is ready for the interaction, interaction meaning ready for the transactions, then we do the chain code interaction using CLI. So from command line, we execute few commands, and then from there we will be able to do the transactions. So in a real time, you will be able to see the assets being created, and the real transactions are being happening. So that is covered in the chapter 16. Then we have chapter 17, where so in Hyperledger Fabric, we use kind of NoSQL database. And in when you use NoSQL database for your world state, where there you have multiple options to choose like which database you want to use. So by default, there is a level DB which is being used. But here I have explained how you can use cows DB also as a state database for your particular use case. So if you have a use case like you want to write rich queries, okay? So rich queries by default it is not supported by level DB. So for that, simply you can just use cows DB as a state database. Then we have chapter 18. So this is a continuation of cows DB, where in the chapter 18 you will write JSON rich queries, which will be supported by the cows DB database. And basically you will kind of write if you are aware of SQL rich queries, where you write multiple kind of joins and then get the data from the database. Very similarly, here also there are multiple features which CouchDB provides as a database. So those features you can use or you can learn in chapter 18. Then from chapter 19, we talk about, or we learn about the Fabric CA. So Fabric CA is a Fabric Certificate Authority, and it takes care of identity part in the network. So there are, as I said, there are multiple types of service provider you can use for identity or for the certificates, and Fabric CA is one of them, and which is developed by the Hyperledger Fabric team itself, and which is a native kind of supported identity provider. So that complete implementation we have discussed, and we did a hands-on lab on that. That is in chapter 19. Then in chapter 20, we kind of understand the Fabric Gateway service. So Fabric SDK is now being replaced by Fabric Gateway. So that you are going to learn in chapter 20. Then we have chapter 21, where we talk about if you have a production ready application, or how you can make sure that whatever network you are going to build, that network is production ready. What kind of things you should keep in mind while doing production deployments. So all those things we have discussed in detail in chapter 21. In chapter 22, we have a security and performance consideration, where we talked about the security aspects of the Hyperledger Fabric, how you can make sure that your environments are very secure, your peers are secure, your transactions are secure, and there should not be any kind of security related issues in your production network. So those things we talked about in chapter 22, along with the performance, how you can increase your TPS, how you can get the what kind of infrastructure you should use to get the good performance or the highest performance, or how you can scale your application according to the network TPS. So that we talked about in chapter 22. In 23 and 24. So in 23, we talked about the state-based endorsement policies in the smart contract. So there are multiple types of endorsement policy you can have in the Hyperledger Fabric. So one of the type is state-based. So state-based meaning you can write the logic inside your smart contract. So that those parts, those concepts we have discussed in chapter 23. And chapter 24 is all about private data. So there is a concept, very, you can say, complex concept in the Hyperledger Fabric, that is private data, and which is a very good feature also, especially for enterprises, where you have a channel at one place, but on top of channel, if you need an extra layer of privacy, then a private data comes into the picture, where you can create private data on top of your channel. So those concepts we talked about in chapter 24 with the practical hands-on. So all these chapters are having the hands-on labs attached to it, which is a video-based lab. You will get to know, or you will get to learn, where you can follow the videos and you can actually do it by yourself. So these are the chapters, or this is the complete outline which we have inside the course. Now, if you have any questions, you can just raise your hand, or else we can just move to the next part. Okay, so I'll go to the next one. Okay, so as a prerequisite, what you should know when you are coming for the course. So few basic detail or few basic knowledge you should have. It's a very basic one. So some basic blockchain concepts, if you know about, let's say, what is a consensus, transactions, smart contract, just a basic understanding. Not we don't need the in-depth knowledge or hands-on knowledge. Just a basic, what is a consensus, what is a transaction. So the basic knowledge you should have. Some basic Linux command you should have, you should know, because when you do the hands-on, you would be doing on the CLI, the command line or the terminal. So some basic commands you should know. Then some basic Docker commands. So let's say, because here mostly we are going to use Docker only. So let's say if you want to start a container, so first you should know what is a container. So some basic knowledge about containerization and basic knowledge about Docker and Docker Compose. If you know that, or if you have that, it is good to have. Then some programming language knowledge, if you already have, that is good to have, like writing basic Go program or writing basic Node.js program or Java program. So that will be kind of added advantage, which will be kind of helping you to understand it very fast. And then some networking fundamentals. So understanding the TLS, what is a TLS, like a transport layer security, or what is a gRPC. So some basic knowledge, basic understanding of these protocols, if you have, then you are good to go to start the course. But if you don't have these things, no problem, because few concepts we already covered in the course also. Let's say blockchain fundamentals and Linux foundation, Linux commands also. So Linux command, how I have explained is, let's say if I'm writing a command, so I have explained what this command is going to do what. So there also you will get to learn, okay, if you are writing a CD command, then what exactly the CD command is going to do in the terminal. But if you already have the knowledge, that is good to go, and that will kind of save your time, and it will kind of increase your speed to complete the course. Okay. So now next, we have the certification and career opportunities. So after doing this course, what is there for you? So the very first thing is the Hyperledger Fabric certification path. So immediately after completing this course, you can kind of attempt the HFCP, that is Hyperledger Fabric Practitioner. There is a one new certification is there. So earlier we used to have admin certification or developer certification. So two different certification you should do. And those certifications were kind of, I would say, a complex one. Or you should have a very in-depth knowledge on the terminal. So if you want to appear for an admin, then you should be having a very kind of tight grip on the terminal. But here, the new certification is MCQ based certification, which you will be having, which will validate your Fabric development skills, and it is recognized. It is given by the Linux Foundation, so you can go for it. Next one is so career opportunities, of course, blockchain developer, architects, DevOps engineers, especially for Hyperledger Fabric, and the consultants. So these are the career opportunities you have. You can choose your path in which direction you want to go further. And demand for Hyperledger Fabric is growing. That you can very well check on the LinkedIn or other platforms, how the need for blockchain developer, especially on the enterprise, is growing. Now, once you have this course, then how do you approach the course? So basically, there are a few things which you should keep in mind. The very first thing is understand the fundamental first. So don't jump to the like the middle sections, or don't jump to the last sections first. Always start from the very first, okay, and then go to the next one. So understand the fundamental first, because in Hyperledger Fabric, it looks very easy if you kind of look at very first time. The concept looks very easy, but when you go in detail, then you will understand that these concepts are kind of quite complex and quite attached to each other. So it is a good practice to start with very fundamental concepts. Start with what is an asset, what is a transaction, what is a block, how blocks are connecting with each other, how the transaction is flowing from one component to another component. Then learn about the components. Let's say peer, there is a component of peer. So what peer can do, what type of peers are there, what is the different job of different type of peer. So when you learn about these small concepts, then it will be very easy to kind of go to the complex concepts. Then the second one is follow the course module in sequence. That is very much recommended. You should not skip the modules, because as I said, modules are interdependent. If you skip the module, then you might not understand the next module completely, or there may be some confusion because of the module skip. Then hands-on labs are the key. So don't forget or don't skip the hands-on labs. Until unless you do the hands-on, there are many things which you will learn during the hands-on only. Okay. So you understand the concept, but how that concept is being utilized inside the fabric, that you will learn with the hands-on labs only. So don't skip the hands-on labs. Then engage with the community. This is very important. So of course, when you start the course, when you start working in a particular framework, you will get with various issues. And that is by default. Whenever you start any course, if the course is a developer centric, or if the course is something like where you are doing actual hands-on, or you are executing actual commands, then of course there will be some issues will be coming. So now who is going to help you out? So with the course, you will get a forum where you can post your queries, you can post your issues. Along with that, there is a Discord community of Hyperledger. So there also, if you post your questions, your issues, then there is a rich community who will help you out. So those community features, you should be kind of keep engaging with the people to kind of get support from them. And there are people who will support you for sure. Then we have debugging and troubleshooting. So as I said, whatever issues you are having, you can just take a screenshot, upload it on the Discord, or upload it on the forum. So immediately I can revert on that, or else anyone who is available immediately, they can revert. So you will get the resolution as soon as possible once you upload your issues with the screenshot. And always remember, whenever you upload a screenshot, whenever you post a issue, try to attach a screenshot. When you attach a screenshot, half of the problem will kind of solve there itself, because the next person will understand the complete context, how you are going or how you are coming or landing to the particular issue. So always attach a screenshot with your query or issue, which will kind of expedite your resolution. Then at the last, you can prepare for the certification exam. So once you complete the course, the real value will come out when you complete the certification also, because that will be a kind of because it is accepted in the market, and very much recommended that you should complete the certification along with the course. So these are the 6 points. If you keep in mind while doing the course, I think you will be able to get a max out of it from the course. Okay, so now I'll invite my co-author Aravind, and he will be talking about the use cases. Aravind, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Dayal, and hello everyone. So I hope you understood what's new in the course and how that is designed and kind of planned, so that you will be enabled as certified Hyperledger Fabric developers or professionals, I would say. So let's look at real world use cases of Hyperledger Fabric across continents. And indeed, Hyperledger, I mean, basically kind of listed various case studies which are implemented, and I picked up at least one use case or one case study from each continent, so that you can understand the kind of adoption of Hyperledger Fabric across industries, across the world. So first thing is basically supply chain. And supply chain is one amazing non-fintech use case where Hyperledger Fabric have kind of got adopted across. And if you see, Walmart implemented Hyperledger Fabric for tracking track and trace in their supply chain. And indeed, their tracking time went from days to seconds, ensuring food safety. And indeed, improved transparency, reduced waste, and enhanced customer trust is what they achieved. And this is one of the kind of very early Hyperledger Fabric implementation, and I would say production grade implementation. And another thing is, again, another case study is from Europe on trade finance. So this is more banking and finance sector. And we trade a European trade finance platform, also leverages Hyperledger Fabric. And all they did is kind of streamlined the cross-border trade transactions, right? And any cross-border trade finance involves lots of delays, back and forth coordination, and documentation. But this is where the kind of faster settlements, reduced fraud, because everyone has single version of truth or single source of truth, and then streamline trade processes. And you can kind of deep dive into that case study through the link which is mentioned there. And then next, and Indian subcontinent. So recently, like couple of months back in September 2024, Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India kind of launched Vishwasya Blockchain as a Service, which is meant for all the government departments across the country to use a national blockchain framework, which also leveraged Hyperledger Fabric. And there are many use cases like, say, academic certificate issuance or land records, medical supply chain, judiciary chain. So these are like use cases where hundreds of thousands, like say at least, I don't say millions of documents, but at least 100,000 plus documents across these use cases were already being issued on this national blockchain framework, Vishwasya. And indeed, these are all government use cases. So Fabric is being kind of leveraged across the governments as well, and improved governance, reduced corruption, and enhanced citizen trust are some of the outcomes government is looking. And you can see the press release of this same launch and what use cases it is supporting through the link. And next, we have again ACMA healthcare industry. Baidu uses Hyperledger Fabric for securing medical data sharing and ensuring patient data privacy and interoperability across hospitals. And again, the impact is very clear: improved patient care, reduced administrative costs, and enhanced data security. So by now, someone who is very new to Hyperledger Fabric kind of will realize that Hyperledger Fabric is sector agnostic, and it supports use cases across industries seamlessly, right? And the case study coming from Africa is agriculture. There is this platform or product called Agri Digital, and they are leveraging Hyperledger Fabric for grain supply chain management. And of course, this also enables real-time tracking and payment automation for farmers. And again, along with trust, transparency, or operational efficiency, this is one use case. These are two use cases which can say that Fabric has also touched lives in terms of food or healthcare, the basic needs of humanity. And next comes the use cases from next. So from Australia, again, this is government services implementation. Australian national blockchain also leveraged Hyperledger Fabric for secure document sharing, and streamlining the regulatory compliance and interagency collaboration. Because the beauty of Fabric is it supports multiple channels, and each channel have its own smaller consortium and interagency data sharing seamlessly. So this is what also brought enhanced efficiency, reduced paperwork, and improved citizen services in Australia. And the use case from last but not the least industry sector is energy, and the company is Comerc, a Brazilian energy company using Hyperledger Fabric for energy trading, right? And again, there is a common misconception that Fabric doesn't support kind of token or tokenization functionality. But indeed, though it doesn't support token as a functionality right away, but it supports the functionality of defining an asset. And the asset can be an energy, a unit of energy, or a product in supply chain with a serial number, or anything of value, right? So Fabric has a different way of defining the unit of value, but it also supports asset management or kind of energy trading. So peer-to-peer energy transactions and grid management in a permissioned environment is what is possible with Hyperledger Fabric. And the impact is simply the increased renewable energy adoption and optimized energy distribution. So again, all these all these case studies are available, or are available on the LF Decentralized Trust website. And coming to salaries, I think there is a lot of demand for Hyperledger Fabric professionals. And you all know, at least 70% of enterprise blockchain implementations in the world are on Hyperledger frameworks, and Hyperledger Fabric being the most matured, stable, and one of the older or early frameworks. There is good adoption in terms of this framework, and the salaries are this. And of course, these numbers may vary, but you can earn good by getting certified and kind of grabbing job opportunities on Hyperledger Fabric. And next. So why to choose this course, right? Of course, this is officially coming from Linux Foundation. And indeed, previous courses were more document based. It is just a document which you need to go through and kind of complete the certification. But now this time, with Hyperledger Fabric certified professional course, we kind of, so IDS as one of the Hyperledger training partners, and we are also a Hyperledger Fabric certified service provider. So based on our kind of experience and expertise building production grade blockchain implementations on Hyperledger Fabric, we kind of brought you a comprehensive curriculum covering all the fundamentals, architecture, and advanced use cases, and also real world projects and case studies for your hands-on experience. And then you're actually learning from seasoned blockchain professionals. So Dayal himself was working with IBM long back when this Hyperledger Fabric was just being incubated at IBM before handed over to Linux Foundation. So indeed, at that time, it was 0.6, right, Dayal?
Yes, yes. The very first version which came, that was 0.6. And now we are going to 3.0.
Yeah, so that way, of course, I just curated the content, but it is Dayal who kind of fine-tuned it and made sure it is relevant. And whether you are an architect or whether you are a developer or an administrator of Hyperledger Fabric, you will thoroughly enjoy the course, and you will be able to take these learnings to your workplace. And all the best for your if you are pursuing this course and aiming to get the certification, all the best for your endeavor, and good luck. Thank you.
Yep. So thank you, Aravind. Thank you, everyone. Now we are open for the questions.
I think Dayal put up a couple of questions in the chat. I think you can take them one by one.
Okay. Yeah, one question was there, that is Fabric SDK. Yes, so Fabric SDK is now being replaced by a gateway service, or you can call it gateway client API also. So now with the new version, the SDK is now being replaced by the gateway. Okay, next question we have, that is, okay, so that this course, okay, does this new course subsume the two courses that were retired in yes, yeah, so whatever we were covering in those two courses, yes, we are covering all the concepts in this course. So this course is designed in such a way that anyone who is kind of who wants to start their journey in Hyperledger Fabric, who wants to learn the admin side of it, and also who wants to learn on the chain code writing. So both the part has been covered inside in this course. Earlier, the courses were kind of particular for developer or particular for admin, but this is a common course for both. Yes, so you will get one chapter how you can kind of get ready with the production deployment, but most of the things are covered using Docker only. So Docker Kubernetes we have not used. Only we have kind of given the very much outline or the detailed information about how you can kind of get ready for the production deployment. No, we are not covering the Bevel or HLF operator. It is, so this course is purely based for Hyperledger Fabric concepts. Okay. The advanced deployment with Bevel or operator is not covered.
And someone is asking if any discounts for members. I think members get some free vouchers for their team to do the certifications. But if you need additional information, I think you should reach out to David.
Yeah, I'll put my email address in the chat. Feel free to reach out to me if you have questions.
Yeah. Any other question? Anyone?
Good to know.
Okay. Yeah.
You are our previous learner, and looking forward that you would take this course as well. All the best.
Yeah. So before taking the exam, you can complete this course and you can take the practitioner exam. Peter.
Okay. So thanks, David, for hosting us, and thanks all the participants. Dayal, there is a question.
Okay, so we have a question: what level of architecture is reviewed? A reference, solution, or technique? So we have explained the solution and the technical both. So reference anyway, it is pretty much explained with the component, but the solution also I have explained in detail. Okay, thank you everyone. Thanks for joining, and thanks David for hosting us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I'll send the links around to everyone after, so you'll have the resources. Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
All right, bye.